Hey guys, Tony here. It's early morning, I'm getting ready to work out, but I wanted to come on to chat about PAR versus non-PAR. I still get a lot of questions about that. Difficulty on the therapist's part, trying to figure out if they want to be PAR or non-PAR. And I just wanted to take a minute to touch on a couple topics I haven't necessarily touched on before. So, big picture. Whether you choose to be PAR or non-PAR with Medicare specifically, it's important that you understand you're still contracted with Medicare. You're still under the same regulations as, non-PAR PAR. You still have to submit a claim on the patient's behalf. You really still have all of the same liabilities and obligations. Yes, I understand you maybe get to collect a little bit extra, but I would say it's probably negated by a couple factors that I want to discuss over the next minute or two. So if I chose to be non-PAR, and this is important, the non-PAR allowed amount is 95% of the PAR allowed amount. Okay, so if I'm allowed $100, right? Whatever the CPT code is, let's pretend I'm allowed $100 reimbursement. That's the Medicare allowed amount as a PAR provider. I bill $300. They contract adjust it down to the allowed amount, which for PAR is 100. As a non-PAR provider, if I accept assignment, that means if I want Medicare to pay me directly, I can collect up to $95. The PAR provider gets 100, I can collect up to 95. Now you're saying, but Tony, you can charge up to 115 times the allowed amount, percent times the allowed amount. You're right. So of the $95, if I don't accept assignment, I can charge 115% of the $95. However, here are the problems. I have to collect from the patient. If I choose to collect at the time of service, oftentimes patients are going to pay with a credit card. That means I've already given up 2.5% or more based on credit card processing fees. If they pay with a check or they pay some other way, I've got all the, I have to get to the bank, I have to do the deposits. The other factor coming into play is there's a certain amount of risk on the patient's part. The patient is assuming Medicare is going to pay them. Many patients will want to wait until Medicare pays. That means that I have all of the administrative hassle and cost of invoicing the patient, billing the patient, following up on invoices that go unpaid. Even if I have one patient in 10 who decides not to pay or to pay late or has some sort of conflict come up, all of a sudden I've just lost any potential benefit of being able to charge 115% of the allowed amount as a non-PAR provider. So I think I think the misunderstanding probably is people think non-PAR is like out of network. People tend to think non-PAR is like being not contracted, but it's not. Non-PAR is virtually the same, many of the same requirements, responsibilities as PAR, but the difference is you have to collect directly from the patient. I believe there's a certain mistrust that develops when a patient says, do you accept Medicare? You may say yes, but if you say I'm not participating, I'm a non-PAR provider with Medicare, immediately that's going to put up a red flag. And that's going to develop some resistance. So I have other videos better explaining PAR versus non-PAR and the different requirements and sharing some of the reference material that you'll need to really make the right decision. The last question that comes up often, if you choose to go one way, can you switch and go the other way? Yes, there's a period toward the end of the calendar year where you can change your status from PAR to non-PAR or non-PAR to PAR. So remember, you're not locked into anything, but I would say if you want the simple path, if you want the least amount of resistance, even if you're collecting a little bit less in revenue per visit per unit, I really think going to become a participating provider is much easier than becoming a non-participating provider, even though you can collect a little bit more on the non-PAR side. Guys, as always, thanks so much. I'm gonna go get my workout on. I'll catch you on the next video.